I've owned nearly 200 fragrances throughout my lifetime. I wanted to sit here and talk to you guys about the 10 I love the absolute most, my all-time top 10. Now, this is gonna be heavily niche. There is one designer offering in here, but all of these are super high quality and, in my opinion, some of the best fragrances that I've ever smelled, and some that I just identify with greatly. So the first fragrance that I wanted to talk about is from a brand called Atelier Materi, one of my favorite brands right now. This is Bois de Gingembre. This is amazing stuff, guys. So as the name suggests, this is all about ambrette with a little bit of woods, the woods being sandalwood, but this is really just a lot of galbanum. There's some ginger and orange at the top, but it's all about ambrette, which is really nice, natural, musky, kind of a note that you can get. Really saying all those notes doesn't give you the full picture of kind of what this smells like. So when I put this on, this is kind of this almost powdery, but definitely velvety, musky fragrance. It's kind of soft, but very, very smooth, and it pushes off of your skin. There's, from what I understand, a good amount of ambroxan in here to really give it some lift off of you. I think it's amazing. It's one of the cleanest and smoothest textures in all of the fragrances that I own. It's one that I feel like I can wear all year round, but at the same time, I kind of just like wearing this around the house. If I just take a shower and I'm not going anywhere, there's a handful of fragrances that I can reach for that I can just throw on and just kind of meander around my crib. This is one of those. If you haven't tried it out, check out Bois de Gingembre. This one is from a brand called Mefisto. This is started by Alberto Marias. I think it's like officially run by his daughter, which is really, really dope. This fragrance is called Eau de Gingembre. So this isn't necessarily a super aquatic fragrance, but the ginger in here is light and playful enough to where in the air, it is almost breezy in a way. This is also containing a bunch of neroli in here, so you really have to love neroli to love this one, but that's totally fine. I love neroli, but this one here, that punch of ginger is so good. I love a fresh spice. This, pink pepper, all those types of notes are ones that I welcome wholeheartedly in the summer, and this is a summer banger. When I tell you that any opportunity I get to wear this in the summer, I'm rocking it, and I 100% mean that. Anyway, haven't tried Eau de Gingembre, gotta find it. I think this is the 8th spot. So this is a fragrance that is very well known around the community and has been really since its launch. This is from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. This is Grand Soir. Grand Soir, in a lot of ways, is kind of the ideal amber fragrance for me. It's nice and balsamic. It is heavy on tonka, which I really enjoy, but it's really nice and vanillic. It feels almost crystallized, but still very balsamic. It's so clean and so elegant. Grand Soir is one of those that I know if you own it, I know you have a really good taste. And it's just so easy to wear. It doesn't really matter if I'm going to work or I'm taking my lady out on a date, if I'm just hanging out at home wearing something. This fits all of that. And that's one of the things that I really love about it, is just its versatility. I don't have to try too hard when I wear this. I can just throw this on, dip out the door, and go handle my day. Anyway, that's Grand Soir from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. This next one is from Roja Parfums. This is called Manhattan. Now, this is very similar to another fragrance that is highly regarded called Tobacco Vanille from Tom Ford, which I also own and love. Tobacco Vanille was actually given to me by my fiance, and I really, really enjoy it. And I try to wear it for her as much as I can. The thing is, though, it's very dense and it's not as sweet as Manhattan. And I kind of prefer that. The thing also is with Manhattan is it's kind of wispy in the air, Like I said, tobacco vanille is kind of dense, and that's great. That's especially great for the winter. I usually end up wearing this in the fall and the spring. And then in the winter, I usually end up throwing on some tobacco vanille because it's just a little bit more intense. But I also feel like this lasts longer too. Also, funny enough, per 100 mil price, this is cheaper. It's also usually cheaper on discounters too. So I'll probably end up keeping this in rotation a lot longer than I'll end up keeping something like tobacco vanille. But they're both amazing. This is just my my preference. Now, again, cinnamon, tobacco, vanilla. There's a whole lot that you're getting in here. I think there's also a little bit of lavender in here as well. Truly one of my all-time favorites, and I think this is gonna stay in my rotation forever. This next one is an underrated gem from Initio. We've got Blessed Baraka. I admittedly am not the biggest fan of everything that this brand has to offer. And I'm also not the biggest fan of their sister brand, Parfums de Marly, for other reasons. I just feel like Initio, though, they do some experimental things. They at least try to do some new stuff. So this is like a musky, kind of spicy sandalwood fragrance. This is primarily cinnamon. I believe there's some tonka in here too with a little bit of sandalwood. They only note like a couple notes for this online. I think it's sandalwood, vanilla, and musk, but it's definitely a little bit more than that. There's definitely cinnamon in there. At least from the ingredients, you can see that there's, I think, cinnamol, which is a synthetic cinnamon. There's some spice in this, but it's not too strong. And that's something that I actually really enjoy. So the thing with this guy, Blessed Baraka, I feel like you can wear this all year round. It's more musky than it is spicy and woody, if that makes sense. But it's still very smooth and super underrated. Like, people love talking about side effect, musk therapy, rehab, and they're great fragrances. I own a handful of those. But if I had my choice for everything that's in Initio, without a doubt, it's Blessed Baraka. Amouage is a brand that I'm a little bit iffy on. Sometimes I adore their fragrances. Sometimes I'm like, that's a little bit too much for me. Too intense maybe for me. But one fragrance that I've really grown to love over the last year that I've owned this bottle is Beach Hut Man from Amouage. This is insane. First off, doesn't smell like a beach at all. Like, let's get that out the way. This is a mint bomb, and I feel like there's also oak moss in here too. It's fougere-like, but I wouldn't necessarily classify it as that. But it is very striking, and it's also super fresh. It's almost too strong to wear in the summer, but it's perfect for the spring and early fall. Man, so you get a whole lot of mint. I think there's like 2 or 3 different types of mint that's listed in here, but it's pretty green. I'm just gonna spray some in the air right now. Jeez, yeah. So yeah, a whole lot of mint up top, a little bit of citrus, but it's also a little bit soapy too, which I really enjoy, and that just goes back to the whole fougere portion of it. The barbershoppiness of it all. It ends up being super fresh and a really easy but powerful wear. If you are somebody who struggles with a lot of Amouage's Middle Eastern leaning stuff, I mean, it's a Middle Eastern brand, but a lot of it, like, I don't know, maybe Diaman is one that I've never been all too fond of. A lot of the library collection, I think, is just a miss for me personally. But if you like some more of the smoother Amouage fragrances, like Reflection Man or Jubilation, Outlands is another one, this might be something that you can get into. In the number 3 spot, this is Mefisto. I love Mefisto. Mefisto, I think, was like the second ever Xerjoff fragrance that I bought. This is probably one of the easiest wears in my entire collection. So let's just talk about the notes real quick. This is really about lavender, it's about rose, and then grapefruit at the very top. And the grapefruit, I think, lasts quite a while, especially for a top note, especially for a citrus note. This grapefruit lasts maybe an hour to an hour and a half. And that entire time, it's pushing. The projection on Mefisto is really great. It's, at least this bottle that I have, I can't speak for every batch. I'm not one of those guys, people. Now, Mefisto is very gentlemanly. There's also a fougere flanker of it called Mefisto Gentiluomo. That is on my wish list. It is a great fougere. But even still, I love Mefisto. Definitely more than I would love Gentiluomo. This is also probably my most worn fragrance over the last like 2 or 3 years. This is pretty insane. Look at that dent that's in there. Two things that I really enjoy about Mefisto beyond just how it smells. One, this does last a while, at least for a fresh fragrance that is built the way it is. Mefisto, for me, lasts at least 7 hours. If I'm in a cooler month, maybe like a September, October, I can probably get to 8 to 9 hours of Mefisto. Now, it's not gonna be pushing the entire time. The projection pretty much always dies at around 2 or 3 hours, depending on the time of year. The other thing I really love about Mefisto is how versatile it is. It doesn't matter if I'm going to work, which I've done with this. If I'm going out with friends, I've done that. If I'm going to a baby shower, a funeral, a family event, I've done all of those things with Mefisto. And I have always gotten a compliment the day I've worn it, which is, I can't say that for any other fragrance. I think this might be my most complimented fragrance ever. It's that or like Bleu de Chanel. And Bleu de Chanel, you can get a bunch of compliments on that. That's not really saying much. It's more of a familiarity thing, right? Anyway, go give Mefisto from Casa Marati a try. If you're a guy, it's easy, dude. It's probably, out of all these, the most blind buy safe. Okay, we are gonna keep it in-house for this next one. At the number 3 spot, this is Symphonium from Xerjoff. Look at this beautiful bottle. Look at this stone label. Okay, so this I think is the most expensive fragrance on this list. Price be damned. This is probably my favorite gourmand fragrance. I actually just got a new one in a couple weeks ago that may contend with it, but at least for right now, I think it's Symphonium. Symphonium doesn't get as much love as it absolutely should. The thing with Symphonium is you have to love chocolate, you've gotta love orange, and you have to love fragrances that don't exactly fit. We'll talk a little bit more about that later at the number 1 spot. So Symphonium is all about chocolate, it's all about orange. I think there's dark and white chocolate featured. The orange in there is like this kind of sugary orange. It's really delicious smelling. And it also features oud as a base note. Apparently it is natural oud, but if I'm being honest with you, I really can't smell it. I've worn, I mean, look at this. I've worn a lot of Symphonium, y'all. Look at this. This is a sizable dent for somebody who owns around 200 fragrances. I wear this a lot. I don't think I've ever detected oud in this. And it's to the point where sometimes I think about it, I'm like, you know what, I do kind of want to smell some oud and this. And then I'll just end up spraying some like original oud or not original oud, perfect oud from Mise en Serre, just to kind of give it a little bit more oomph. And that's fine. But whatever this is together is amazing. It's amazing. Also for a gourmand, it really pushes. The projection on this is really crazy and it lasts a long, long time. Maybe 8 to 9 hours, which is a while. I know we're in an era where everything lasts like 12, 15, 30 hours. Like, I personally don't need or really even want a fragrance to last that long. If I like smell it the next day on my pillows, I'm usually a little bit annoyed by that, mostly. This is one that is pretty perfect. It's to the point where if I couldn't find this on discounters anymore, I think I would just pay the full price, which is I think around $600. it's worth it to me. The first time I smelled this, I went on Joma Shop immediately and was like, yeah, let me go ahead and buy this like right now. And I did. Off of a test strip, not even on skin. I sprayed it on a tester, smelled it. I was like, yeah, I bought it immediately. It was pretty insane and honestly, very worth it. Truly one of my all-time favorite fragrances. Again, Symphonium. Top 2. So here's the thing. While this is a top 2, this is more so like 1A and 1B. Primarily because the fragrance that's at number 1, while I think it is for sure my favorite fragrance ever, it's also something new that I've had to accept that it's my favorite fragrance ever. This though has been my favorite fragrance for about going on a decade now, I think. This is called Oud Wood from Tom Ford. There, that's a little bit of a better look. I feel like the Tom Ford labels, the like paper ones, I mean, they're all kind of paper except for like the parfums, right? They like wear down after some time. It gets kind of ugly. You see that? What the hell? But in the light, it's good. If you're into fragrances and you're a man, you've definitely heard of Tom Ford Oud Wood. If you haven't smelled it, bruh, go to Sephora, dog. I'm sure it's down the street from me. Go to Sephora, man, and smell this. The thing is, this has no oud in it. I don't give a damn what they're talking about. Ain't no oud in this. This is actually a really nice rosewood fragrance though. And there's a little bit of vanilla in here, a little bit of spice. There's just so many ways and places that I can wear this and I'll get a compliment. I'll, in most cases, be the best smelling person in the room. And I don't care that this is like 20 years old. I don't think it's that old. No, it's about 20. It's going on 20, ain't it? No matter what, I can throw this on reliably and be the best smelling person in the room. In some ways, I'm the best version of myself when I wear this. This is, I think, my 3rd bottle of Tom Ford Oud Wood. Funny enough, I've never finished a bottle of Tom Ford Oud Wood. I've usually gotten to around like 10 mils left and I've either like given the bottle away or the bottle's been stolen. Go figure. But I'm very happy to own this. This is always gonna be in rotation for me. This is one that I think will always have a little sentimental value for me because this was like my first real expensive fragrance way back when, like a decade ago when I first bought this. And I don't know, it's just one of those fragrances that I just wholeheartedly identify with. Same thing with Symphonium, same thing with the number 1 fragrance. Okay, so number 1 on my list. First off, I think for this brand, most people don't even really like this fragrance. So for a while, I kind of thought it was just me. Like maybe there's something in here that I'm not getting that everybody else is, but this feels pretty perfect to me. This fragrance is called Music for a While. This is perfumed by Carlos Benaim and from Frederic Malle. I first got this a handful of years ago. I bought this kind of around the same time that I bought several other Frederic Malle fragrances. I think the first 4 I got were Muscat du Jour, which I didn't like when I first got it. Portrait of the Lady, which I loved when I first got it. French Lover, which I was iffy on when I first got it. But Music for a While, the moment I smelled it, I was like, damn, this is me. First off, this is the best pineapple note I've ever smelled in any fragrance. And I'm talking about better than Old Aventus. Hachibat, I really don't even count for real. But there's a handful of other great pineapple fragrances that are out there, but none of them really even match Music for a While's pineapple note. And that's actually really funny because the pineapple was an afterthought. This fragrance is really about the relationship between lavender and patchouli, which is really the core components of this. The patchouli that you get in here is like kind of greasy. It actually reminds me of the patchouli that is used in Monsieur, which is another fragrance from Frederic Malle that I own and like. and have worn on occasion. I'm not, spoilers, I'm not the biggest patchouli guy, which is so weird that I love this so much, because this is kind of the whole point of this is patchouli. Again, the patchouli that you get in here is almost kind of greasy in a way, but it's smoothed over with the caramel note that's in here, which adds some sweetness, but it's almost like this kind of like dusty, greasy kind of caramel that's in here. It's really interesting. But then pretty much all throughout the wear of this, at least for several hours, you're gonna be getting that lavender note, and the lavender is so good. I feel like a lot of times you'll get like a sharp lavender, or you'll get like this really nice, bright, fresh, aromatic lavender like you do in Mefisto. This is more of like a transparent lavender. The lavender that's used here is very soft and very wispy in a way. Like I said earlier, it's kind of transparent, which is so weird because the patchouli that's used in here is almost like rough and greasy. It's kind of undone in a way. And then you have this very beautiful, soft lavender that's in here, and the pineapple just brings it together. It is, I think, the most underrated fragrance from Frederick Malle. I also think it's one of the most hated fragrances from Frederick Malle. I see a lot of negative feedback on this, which is really interesting to me because I loved it at first smell, truly, and I still love this fragrance. Anyway, this is my top 10, y'all. Let me know what your favorite fragrances are. I guess I'm a YouTuber now, so I gotta tell y'all, what is it? Like, subscribe, share the video, show your homeboy the video. Goddamn, what else do you have to do? Do all the YouTubery stuff for me. Please help me out. Leave a comment down below. All that stuff, man. But anyway, thank you guys for watching the video. I will hit y'all up with some more stuff occasionally. I don't know how often I'm gonna be posting on here, bro, but I'm gonna post every now and then. So yeah, great talking to you. See ya.